Welcome back to gamersbookclub.com, and today what we're going to be doing is going through our third Gamers Book Club for 7 and 8 year old boys and their parents. And the game that was chosen was Spore, which is it's a fun game, it's a beautifully made game, and it's a game that for 7 and 8 year olds should have a little bit of parental supervision, although there really isn't anything horribly offensive in it. The gameplay for Spore occurs, you start off as a single-celled creature, and then over time you evolve into more complex stages. You go from single-cell to what they call a creature stage, and then to a tribal stage to a civilization stage, and then to a spacefaring stage. And in each one of those stages, your job is to either eat or kill other tribes or groups, or to befriend them. And that's the main strategic tension, is how do you best move on? Is it through a combination of attacks and making friends or economic trade, or is it through attacking? So when we initially chose this game, the parents really thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about evolution, because you're moving from simple cell to complex organisms. And as we played it and discussed it a little bit more, we realized that was not going to be a good idea. And the reason that we decided not to discuss it was because the main features of evolution as it's sort of played out in the game are really very different than the main forces in evolution: selection, natural selection, and adaptation, and so on. So we thought that if we tried to mix science with the game, the kids would walk away with too many misconceptions about what the ideas of evolution were. So we just decided not to discuss it. Instead, we had a lot of fun talking about the kids' approaches to this game, and each one had to tell us, explain how they chose to balance between attacking and making allies, and how successful they felt that was. And I won't lie to you, most of the kids really enjoyed just attacking. It was all about attacking. But what we found out was that it's really difficult to advance if you choose exclusively to attack. So Spore is written in a pretty clever way. There's a lot of internal adaptation. So for example, if your characters are aggressive and attacking all the time, then their tribe mates will be aggressive as well, and they will behave aggressively to each other. If, on the other hand, they work to make allies, then internally there'll be peaceful things going on in the tribe. So it really gives you a good sense of what's going on, and can adapt to the child's play. But it's also the case that a single strategy, if you're extreme one way or the other, is never going to succeed. So you really have to learn how to balance things. And the most successful strategies really were balanced between them. So the first component of each of our meetings is discuss, and during this time we really discussed how you balance aggressiveness versus friend making. The second component is play, and so the kids got on to play and the parents were watching. This is a complex enough game that if you don't play for a while, then you're not really going to have a good feel of what to do for half an hour of play. So the kids played and the parents watched. So we had spent all this time talking about how you balance between aggressiveness and friends, and the kids really enjoyed, most of them enjoyed attacking. But when they sat down to play, what we found was most of their time was not spent attacking or making friends. Most of their time was spent building things, designing new spaceships, manipulating structures in 3 dimensions, adding things on, coloring things, choosing length and space, dimensions, and how they thought a particular feature would help their character. So there was really a lot of weighing, resources. You only got so much money or DNA or whatever to spend on features. What features do you want to choose? So it was really about choices rather than attacking. There's very little, aggressiveness actually shown in the game. There's a little bit, but most of it for these 7 and 8-year-olds was choosing and designing and building, which was really nice to see because it was a surprise for us. We expected, oh, they're just going to be attacking, and that's not what was going on. So play was good for us as parents to see what the benefits really were of this game. Then the third component of each meeting is extend. And what we try to do is look at the group of kids that we have and what are their strengths and weaknesses and what kinds of things do we want them to work on, and also what is perhaps lacking from the game. And while the game Spore is really fun and it's complicated, what's missing is a personal story arc. It's a little bit impersonal. You're building these tribes and you're trying to do things, but you don't know what the personal motivation is of any of these characters. And so we thought maybe this is a good opportunity for the kids to work on storytelling. So what we asked them to do is take one of their characters from Spore or one of the characters in the opposing tribes, and as they play the game, tell the story of the game from the perspective of that character, why they're doing it, and so on. So here our videographer has set up an example of Spore, and you can see the characters that they've made and what kinds of things they do, and you can see the map that includes different kinds of villages that you would either attack or you would make friends with, and you can see what characteristics or how that other tribe feels towards you based on this graphical chart, and you can see how far along the game you've made progress according to this chart, and you can see it's really quite a nice and involved interface. So the goal in the extend part of it is to have the children choose one of these characters from a different tribe and make a story. Here we have these tribes coming in. They're actually friendly to this tribe, so they're just singing and making friends. Can you tell us the story that's going on? And it should go through the entire thing. And this could be either the parent transcribes it and writes the story down, or just makes a video of the storytelling, the child telling the story. And that's sort of our assignment for the next week, or the next month's meeting. Okay, that was meeting number 3 for the Gamers Book Club, where we covered Spore and for 7 and 8-year-olds. And if you choose to use Spore, it costs about $25 or $30 to buy, but it's a fun game. It's actually, I think, a very good game for our kids. I hope you'll let us know how it goes. Take care.